Once we're met, sails are rent, marked for death. Bleeding heart, mason stone, maelstrom shell, graveyard bone, merry wet, heaven sent, marked for death. Pinky black final song, rising tide, lovers fall, sun in the west, final breath, marked for death. Pack your bag, come to port. There are 16 souls aboard. Blade is wet, take the pact, marked for death. Seas laugh, madmen weep. I never sleep to dream. Ports ahead, eyes turn west, marked for death. Among the rocks, tempest rage. The sailor turning page. Winds were met, sails are rent, marked for death. Bleeding heart, mason stone, maelstrom shell, graveyard bone, merry wet, heaven sent, marked for death. Pinky black final song, rising tide, lovers fall, sun in the west, final breath, marked for death.
Hey everyone, hey chat, and welcome to an event developer live stream. And I'm here with Dennis. How are you, Dennis, today?
Hey, I'm doing fine, thanks.
Nice. Welcome back from your vacation. I hope you're ready to do this. And Ferenc, good to see you back here as well, my countryman.
Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Like a regular Tuesday, ready to present some very good stuff to the community today.
Yeah, so obviously, as everyone knows, today we are going to be talking about Tide of Shadows, and we have a lot of ground to cover, so let's just dive into it with the guys and let's see what we have in store. But first, let's start with some news around the event. So, when is it gonna happen, Dennis? What are we looking at right now?
So we are about to get the new event running. Tide of Shadows, it's coming together with update 1.13. So it includes all the cool stuff that you've already seen on test server on the last live stream, like shooting range, for example, balancing changes, and so much more. And it will be coming tomorrow on PC.
And yeah, and that means it will happen on the 28th, so tomorrow, and will end on August 23, so around 2 months of time.
Yes, and we had hoped to have the update and event released on the same date and time. However, due to unforeseen issues, we will unfortunately have to postpone the console update by a few days. We appreciate your understanding and thanks for a little more patience, and we'll follow up with you, of course, for any potential compensation in the next days. That being said, we will release PC on the planned date.
Exactly. And let's talk about the event a bit, Dennis. Like, we had a trilogy of events, and what's going to happen now with the Tide series? What do we have to know?
So it's basically the first in an event trilogy. So similar to what we had with the Moon series, we now have the first entry into the Tide series. And what we basically have is like a new story to be told in the Bayou, and it revolves primarily around Rocho, like a new threat, lurks in the water, the Thundershower reigns, and it's about the wreckage of the Delphine, which is washing up along the shores of the Bayou. So the Delphine is a steamboat that sunk years ago in a hurricane, and mysterious folks are said to pile it up into altars. Some believe the driftwood has been sent by the sculptor. So it's going to be very interesting to uncover what this is all about, and we talk more about it also during the stream.
Right. And just to mention, as with every event, there will be a bunch of lore that you can find in game and also unlock during the event. So you can unlock this mysterious story and find out what really happened. And just a small note that there's a brand new Tide of Shadows merch out right now. I actually have it on, so you guys can see. It's really cool. It should be available on Amazon. And we also have actually a Rojo merch, which dropped like a month ago. So check that out as well. It's really cool. It's on our Amazon store. You can find the link on our social media or on Instagram and stuff like that. But check that out because we also have some other really cool design, like for the anniversary and such, and traits. So check the store out. It was just a small shout out. And thank you for the merch team for working so hard on the cool design and the designers as well. And with that being said, I think it's time to actually talk about the event. And Ferenc, it will be your time to shine as we go through the event progression in Tides of Shadow.
All right, let's go. So as with every live event that you might have experienced in the past, you will have to gain event points during the event to unlock rewards. Now you will be able to do it with completing various activities, such as exploration, and we have a new world object called the ship altars that is tied to the lore of this event. So you will have to interact with them or destroy them. More details about this later on in the presentation. There will be core gameplay and PvP activities. I think players who already experienced Devil's Moon or Serpent Moon are really familiar with this. Furthermore, we have the weekly challenges. So if you go back as far as the Serpent Moon, you already know that this has been implemented during the Devil's Moon with update 1.11. And we can change to the weekly challenges, I think.
Actually, we have a small video of the ship altars, so let's check those out.
Okay, let's check out the ship altars.
Yeah, so this is what happens when you destroy them. They explode, similar like how we had it in Devil's Moon, I believe. Really cool. And of course, the main interaction with them is actually ending up looting them and getting more event points. So this is what you will see in the game when that happens. Just once more, just we can see the amazing props. Yeah, and we also have a cool image of it. So this is how it looks. Awesome. And again, please check out the lore so you can find out what these really mean. And yeah, friends, you were saying something about event points. So let's take a look at them closer.
Yeah, so as you can see, this table completely revolving around, various activities where you can gain event points. Now, the first couple of rows are basically activities that you can do in missions and in quick play. Some of them, not all of them. For example, you cannot extract the bounty from quick play, but you can do the other way around. And then there is the challenges milestones. And this is the main takeaway that we already had with update 1.11. We already had and I think you can go forward one slide, Benson.
Yes.
So during the event, this is what we had in the past, and we want to take on that same approach. During the event, basically, weekly challenges will reward event points and blood bonds uniquely. So this is going to be a main source for them. In addition to the weekly challenges, with update 1.13, we have increased the blood bond reward amounts that you can get from the weekly challenges every week. Furthermore, so if you're not familiar with the weekly challenges, so what is it? You basically complete these challenges, the small objectives, whether they are PvP or PvE, and then you earn stars. And by accumulating enough stars, you reach milestones. And by reaching those milestones, you basically earn the rewards behind those milestones.
Yeah, just a small note. If you play Devil's Moon, you're quite familiar on how this works.
Yeah.
And let's take a look at the UI, what they can actually see.
Yeah. So this is how it looks in the UI. I'm fairly confident that people were more focusing on the quest lines in the last 2 or 3 months. So this is just a recap of, this is the challenges overview, basically. As you can see, the rewards have been replaced by the very particular event point icon on multiple milestones. Yes, you will be able to, at every stage, at every milestone, you will be able to accrue either 500 or 1,000 event points. So we can look at those numbers, I think, on the next slide. And just a key takeaway here is that we looked into the data and the community feedback with Devil's Moon. We saw that weekly challenges were rocking in terms of event point source. And we wanted to give it even more legitimacy by increasing the event points, basically, that you can earn weekly here. So that's one takeaway. The second takeaway is, if you're already familiar with Devil's Moon, for Tide of Shadows, we have decided to basically do some reshuffling around how these event points are distributed. In the past, we had like a declining trend towards the 10th milestone with the 30 stars. And this time we decided to be a little bit more generous, even during the middle and towards the late progression. There is one note to take here as well. The second milestone for 6 stars is basically for people who have purchased the Battle Pass or the Battle Pass bundle. So by reaching 6 stars, you will eventually gain 2,000 event points and unlock 2 levels quickly every week. And another key takeaway, I would say, is not only did we increase the event points given out or rewarded by the weekly challenges, we also, with update 1.12, as especially during the quest lines, everyone got familiar with this. The new improvement, which is that whatever you do, whatever challenge you do, or you have, your teammates can basically contribute to their progression if what they do meets the criteria of what you have. So basically, there's this reciprocity that you can do with your teammates during the Tide of Shadows as well.
That's awesome, and I think people really liked it, the change. And are there any additional rewards to event points that you can earn by completing this?
Oh yeah, so we have also decided to go with Dark Tribute. If you can go on the next slide, please. So that's a weekly source. That's a weekly source that the event points, the 7,000 event points in total per week that you can get there, is on a weekly basis. But with the Dark Tribute, you can basically get 150 event points every day if you reach the first milestone. So that is, again, that is every day 150 event points. And another key takeaway here is that not only we gave it another reward, like a secondary reward, you will still get the original rewards, right? So like equipment instances, $100 or even blood bonds. But we have also lowered the XP thresholds. So I think the first Dark Tribute contribution was for 2,500. That got reduced by 500 XP. Second one by 1,000 XP. A third one by 1,500, and the last one by 2,000 XP. So it's going to be easier for people to reach the first milestone and easier for more engaged people to basically reach the end every day.
That's awesome. Thank you for explaining. And one more thing, since you also mentioned you can get small blood points in the Dark Tribute, as always. But what happened to the challenges? Because there were some blood bonds involved there too. Did you change anything regarding that?
Oh yeah, so as I have already mentioned during one of the previous slides, the blood bond rewards were basically buffed. So they have been doubled compared to what you have on live. And they are not tied to owning the battle pass or not. They are for free. They are for everyone. So you can get the rewards regardless if you own the battle pass or not.
So do the challenges.
Great. Yeah, do the challenges. Yeah. You can get a lot of event points and even blood bonds. So that's great. So there's another thing returning that we had previously, which are pre-pledged hunters. So how do those work to those that don't know yet?
Yes, so pre-pledged hunters are basically hunters that are pledged or connected, tied specifically to a certain pact. More about the pacts later on. Dennis is going to give you all the rundown about them. There are 3 pacts, but I leave it up to Dennis. Even though they have this connection pre-established, each and one of them are going to give you plus 10% on event points earned in missions. So please note that this is just event points earned in missions. This is not the challenges or not another source like the Dark Tribute.
Right, and actually, like here will be a small little teaser for the upcoming hunters and packs. So let's take a look at the pre-pledged hunters already. So.
All right, so first we have the Primal Pact. We talk more about this as Ferenc was saying when we go to the gameplay section. But Primal Pact is the first one we see, and you already can see like a couple of familiar faces, but there's also a new face there.
Exactly. And what's the second one then?
Yeah, the second one is the Sparkler Pact. So those are really interesting. I'm really looking forward to talk about them in detail in a minute or so. And they also have a new face there and a couple of familiar ones. So as mentioned by Ferenc, right, like those pledged hunters, they will give you those event bonus points. It's a similar mechanic to what we had like in previous events. Just gives you a chance to have something which is thematically connected to the pact. Obviously, Deckhand had to be part of the smugglers, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. And yeah, we have a familiar pack actually returning, but slightly different.
Yeah, the grounded pack is coming back. They're obviously more like the undecided, the ones that are not committed to either of the sides. And as you can see, they even have 2 new faces appearing amongst their ranks. So can talk about those in a bit.
Yeah, can't wait to talk about how the packs work and what's special about them this time. But for now, we're just looking at the pre-pledge hunters. So, Ferenc, what do we see on the UI when we want to use these hunters?
Yeah, so this is basically how you see the hunters in the recruitment tab. And you can see that those specific pre-pledged hunters are accompanied by 2 icons, respectively. On the top left corner, we have the icon displaying that they give the plus 10% event points. And just below them, a little bit above their name to the left, you have these very specific whitish light icons, which depict which pact they are pre-pledged to. So you can go through this roster and you can see who is pre-pledged to what. And of course, we have so as you can see, we have 4 pre-pledged hunters per pact, but we also have I would say a wild card hunter that is not pre-pledged, more so neutral. A DLC hunter coming out in July, the Moorhound. So this hunter is not going to be pre-pledged. You can pledge to whichever pact you would like with him, but this hunter will still give the plus 10% event points earned.
Exactly. So you have 13 hunters in total that you can get the event bonus points with.
So expect to see those around you a little bit more frequently in the next 2 months.
Yeah. I can't wait. And it's very thematically fitting when we talk about the packs too. So, and there's a small thing that we wanted to mention that we want to make this event a bit more exciting. So we will have more ways to earn event points during the event. We cannot just reveal them yet, but they will come periodically and there will be some exciting things. So please keep an eye out on our socials as well regarding this. And we cannot wait to share more about those as well. But okay, let's talk about how the event works and how do you get rewarded by playing the event.
Yeah, I think we have talked a lot about how you earn the event points, but let's talk about why you have to earn the event points, right? So the event, like previously with all our events, consists of 2 different tracks. First, we have the free reward track. So these are the free rewards. And obviously you can unlock premium rewards via the premium reward track by purchasing either the Battle Pass or the Battle Pass bundle. And now, Ben, so let's take a look at the free rewards.
Ta-da!
As you can see, it looks pretty awesome. We have lots of new equipment or equipment variants that are coming to the Bayou. We have not only weapons, we have consumables. But the main takeaway that I would like to point out with the free reward track is that you're not only unlocking new custom ammo, new weapon variants, new consumables, but there's also legendary rewards for you as well, even if you haven't purchased anything. So for example, the Gar legendary hunter coming to the free reward track. I think we have a legendary knife there in the bottom, and there's going to be a weapon charm as well, and some blood bonds in addition to that.
Yeah, awesome. So let's talk about the differences between the premium progression and the battle pass and the bundle you mentioned.
So just the first point there, before we get into the contents of both the Battle Pass and the other variant, it's interesting to note out that we have, if you're familiar with the previous prices, we have decided to lower the prices both for the Battle Pass and the Battle Pass bundle. And with that set out, without further ado, so let's look into it. Battle Pass, as I said previously, will grant you access to the premium rewards. And in addition to that, it will grant you access to the extra event points that you can earn through the challenges, the weekly challenges. And the Battle Pass bundle, or the bigger sibling of that, I would say already includes what the Battle Pass has. But in addition to that, it will grant you 10 event levels right away. So you boost your progression straight from the start. And it unlocks you Cardinal Rain, a new legendary hunter, that can be bought separately in the event store, but here you can buy it with buy her with a discount, basically.
Yeah, sounds great. And I see a lot of people asking because of the previous slides about all the things they saw. Don't worry, we will talk about all the weapons, all the custom ammo you may have seen, or the little bug maybe. So don't worry about that. We'll get back to that.
Yeah, it's also important. It's also important to like emphasize on this again. Like, so everything which is gameplay related is on the free track. So if you're looking forward to any of the new weapons, you want to try them out, you want to unlock them and play with them, like that's all part of the free.
Oh yeah, thank you, Dennis, for pointing that out. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Sounds good. So let's take a look at the premium rewards, so the battle pass rewards as well. So what do we see
all
here?
Right. All right. So it's I would say it's a little bit more condensed. You have many more legendary skins here for weapons, for consumables, new ones actually. You have a variety of weapon charms. You have more blood bonds in the premium progression. And you get the second hunter that can be acquired as a reward from the event progression, the Wayward Helmsman. More details about him a little bit later on the line. Yeah.
Exactly. So now we talked about the battle passes. Let's talk about how people can actually get them and the event store itself.
So yeah, basically you can purchase the Battle Pass or the Battle Pass bundle. I think we even showed like an in-game footage about this couple of slides before, but through the event progression track. or you can go to the event store, as you can see it here, and you can purchase the Battle Pass or the Battle Pass bundle. Important to point out, you can only purchase either of them. Okay, so you cannot upgrade from Battle Pass to Battle Pass bundle, or you cannot downgrade, right? So you have to make your decision before doing either, I would say. As you can see, we also sell event levels. Now, in the past, we have sold event points. I think it's easier to grasp, you know, that we are not selling 1,000 event points, but we are selling an event level, or we are selling 10 event levels. And now the interesting part here is that while you can buy them individually or in bundles of 10 here in the event store, we have made
Yeah, thank you. So you have basically a new way to unlock the levels through the progressions. It makes it easy, and it calculates for you exactly how much you have to spend on that.
Yeah.
So what else is in the store, though? Because we've seen those hunters.
Have a quick look. I think we might have lost the audio from Ferenc when you
Ah,
switched the
okay.
video earlier.
Ah, here. Is there audio now? Can you guys hear us? Oh, it's back. Okay.
It's
It's
back.
back.
Okay.
Yeah, there was no host audio. So just quickly recapping what I was. Yes. Sorry, what I was saying during that small video clip. We basically saw that you can select whatever level that you haven't unlocked yet. By doing so, it will calculate the price of purchasing up until to that level if you wish to, and then you can easily go click on purchase levels and then check out, and you will get all the rewards.
Awesome, thank you. If you still have questions about this, we'll also have a Q&A section at the end, so we can also recap it there for you. But let's look at the other things people can find in the store in the meantime.
So we have a very cool new legendary consumable, which is Wax Dynamite Stick, the Damned River. Goes well with the theme of the event. And you can see the two other legendary hunters as well. So as I previously mentioned, you can purchase the Cardinal Rain, for example, individually or as part of the Battle Pass bundle. And then there's the Feng Shearer. So these two go very well together, and they are part of the Grounded Pact, right? So I expect lots of them running around in the bayou during the event. Yeah.
Awesome, and I believe that's it for the store part. So there is a new mechanic in the Battle Pass, so it's called Overspill Rewards. So what is that, Ferenc?
Yes, so essentially, and if I haven't mentioned it earlier, the event progression consists originally and officially of 50 levels. Each level is 1,000 event points. But if you get to the end of the event progression, there is a bonus level, which is the Overspill reward. We call it like level 51. It's basically like a small bonus level. And this bonus level is requiring 15,000 event points. So this one is a big extra on top of everything. And by accruing that 15,000 event points, you get a very cool new unique weapon charm tied to this event. And let's take a look at that weapon charm.
Let's take it.
So it's basically the Use Horn weapon charm, and I think it will go very, very nicely with, you know, more naturalistic themed legendary weapon skins.
And just to mention, do you need the Battle Pass to earn this, or can everyone get it?
No, fair point, fair point. We already shared the Battle Pass overview for the free rewards. You don't need to own the Battle Pass or having purchased the Battle Pass bundle. So this is a free reward. If you grind your way up to, well, in total it would be 65,000 event points, then you get the Use Horn as a reward.
That's great. Thank you, Ferenc, for explaining. So this is how it's visible on the UI. Maybe you can just tell us what we see here as well.
Yeah. So you can see here the very last levels basically of the event progression. The Use Horn basically being the bonus level. Yeah. The premium rewards are basically marked. If you guys are not familiar with this, but the horizontal carousel, you can see that there's like small locks or crosses on certain rewards, and that's basically a visual distinction that they are premium rewards. Even if you unlock those levels, you would need to own the Battle Pass or the Battle Pass bundle to unlock them before the event ends, right?
Yeah, it's basically the little crossed keys that you see in the
Yeah.
battle pass on the right side there. So
Yeah, and last thing, like if you reach the 65,000 event points in total, that's when the event is over. So
Yes.
just for clarification, yeah.
Yes. After that, we haven't prepared any present or any presents, you know, like Easter eggs. No, nothing. No.
but there's
You
going
can
to be lots of gameplay.
you can still enjoy the gameplay. You can still go back to the bayou. You can use the new legendary hunters that you have unlocked. Enjoy the pacts. Enjoy the gameplay. Enjoy things that Ardenis is going to talk about soon.
Exactly. So with that, Ferenc, I believe you will jump out for a few minutes, but you will be back at the Q&A segment. So thanks a lot for explaining how the event progresses and how the Battle Pass works and all the interesting stuff. And now we will go to the gameplay side and all the gameplay changes with Dennis. So
My pleasure. I give you the floor. See you in a bit.
Thanks, Ferenc.
See you in a bit. And yeah, Dennis, now it's only you and I. So yeah.
Let me get properly seated here then.
Actually, one thing I wanted to mention when we started this, because we forgot in the beginning that 1.13 also arrives with the event, and we didn't really say what's in 1.13. So could you maybe just quickly recap what it also arrives with that?
Sure. So 1.13 has all the bigger features that we've had on the test server and that we had in the last stream. So that includes the shooting range, that includes the balancing changes, lots of quality of life changes, so lots of features. Check out the patch notes for all the details. It's quite a bit.
Exactly. And there's so much now, so let's just, I guess, get at it. And let's talk about a new Pacts we teased a bit earlier.
Yeah, let's actually go one step back and quickly let me give like an overview about the gameplay mechanics in general, which is for those who have played the last event, you know all about what it means to pledge your hunter. It all means what the different pacts can do, that like the effect they have on the gameplay, offering you unique traits. And this event follows that structure. However, we have changed things a little bit, and as you go through the details, I'm going to talk about what it all means for how you pledge, how the economy behind it works now with this new version, what we've changed, what we've improved, we hope, and how you guys can experience this. But let's first give you guys an overview about the different pacts we have. So we have 3 of them. And basically what we have here is the Primal Pact as the first pact. Already mentioned it a little bit a couple slides back. And with the whole story of the wreckage of the Delphine kind of washing up on different parts of the Bayou and kind of people assembling the altars from it, and something really like mysterious going on with the appearance of Roger. The Primal Pact turned their sights onto Roger. So they are basically hunting the beast, wanting to climb to the top of the food chain. So it's all about like competition. It's all about like being like the better beasts, basically. And that's what defines this pact.
And they are mega cool, I think. So I'm probably going to be choosing this. But we do have 2 other very cool packs, to be fair, as well. So what is the second one?
So the second one is the Smuggler Pact. So the smugglers, they're a bit more mischievous. They're a bit more like down to their own profit. So like they kind of sift through the wreckage and they vote to make the money and make their money however they can, right? Like it's whatever it's due, like they're going to collect. So everything that this pact is defined by is about being profitable. As you've seen, like Carcass Gunrunner is part of that pact. The Deckhand is part of this pact. So all of those more shady characters we have, they're somehow affiliated with them.
And yeah, I cannot wait to reveal the traits for them because that's very exciting. And then, as you mentioned, the more natural pact in the middle ground, the grounded is back. So what are they up to this time?
So the grounded pact is, as you know, like they try to find the balance in things. Like they don't commit to either side. So they're kind of more like the neutral spot. So the grounded pact vows to preserve the balance of the Bayou. So like while the other pacts fight, they try to uncover the links between everything going on. So you will see a lot more of them trying to kind of understand and make sense of what's going on in the bayou with the appearance of the Delphine.
Awesome. And we talked a lot of lore, so let's get into the actual mechanics and how the pledge marks return this time around.
Yes, so in our previous event, we had established pledge marks as a means of getting a resource that each of your hunters can collect by playing. And they can spend that resource in a way that it was a threshold. So you need to reach like 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 4 points to unlock specific powers of your pact. So by playing more and more, being successful with your hunter, you had the chance to get and experience the higher like traits that each of these pacts offered. How we have changed this time around is that we actually are turning the pledge marks more into a resource you're actually spending. So you can still only carry 4 on a hunter at a time. So we encourage you obviously to do something with them. And you can still only earn a maximum of 3 in a single match. So same rules as we had the last time, just the numbers have changed a little bit. So you get 1 from collecting the first 20 event points. So it's the exploration path. You can get 1 for banishing the first boss target. That includes a wild target. And you can get 1 by looting your first dead hunter. That's the PvP competition side. So playing the objective, exploring, and PvP are all being represented. And obviously, if you succeed in all of them, you can get more of those in a single match, and therefore maybe advance that particular hunter a little bit faster.
Awesome. And so we had the pledge mark, and you said they work kind of differently. So that really ties into this. So what are the burn traits?
Yeah, so the burn traits is a new category of traits that we're establishing, and burn traits are traits that will disappear. They'll go away. They're temporary. And what that means is that by spending your pledge marks at the pledge post, at the supply points to specific pacts, you might get that particular trait for a moment, and then depending on the trait, it gets destroyed when its condition activates. So the conditions are very different on the traits, and we talk about them in a couple of minutes. But they are basically a new category of trait that you just can't get in the roster, right? That you have to somehow get them in the world. And for this event, obviously, that means you have to engage with the pledge marks and then invest into them at our supply points, the pledge posts.
Yeah, and we actually have an image of them, so let's take a look how they actually look like.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different to regular ones. As you can see here, like there's 3 of them lined up, and this is like, in a minute we talk about is like how you will experience them also at the supply points, as you can interact with them and kind of purchase them for the pledge marks there as you have pledged to a particular pact. So the first trait here is a regular one, and then you see that the other 2 are, in this case, burn traits.
Yeah, so let's talk just a tiny bit more about pledge marks. So how do people actually pledge to something, and where do they have to go, what to do?
So the supply points have these 3 pledge boxes, 1 per pact. And unless you have one of those pre-pledged hunters we talked about earlier, you can choose which of those 3 pacts you want to follow. And by going to that particular box, interacting with it, you have pledged a hunter. Now, in the previous event, that meant depending on the amount of pledge marks you had, you already gotten a trait. But we've separated it out this time around. So instead, you will have the choice to pick the traits you would like to have on the hunter. They have different costs attached to them. So maybe sometimes you can only afford 1, or you choose if you want to have maybe those 2 or that other one. So the choice is with the player, the choice is with you. But it's basically still giving you a chance to do all of that at the supply points, and gives you the full control this time.
Yeah, and we do have a video just to represent how the pledging works. So let's quickly take a look at it. And I hope they can actually hear you this time.
I hope so too.
Yes,
Let
they
me know
can.
if you can.
Yes, I fixed it.
So as you can see here, there's like the pledge box, in this case for the grounded pact. And then we see the 3 traits here. Now they are the grounded traits. And in this case, because you have the pledge marks, you can interact with them and therefore add them to your hunter. The first one is a permanent one. The other 2 here are burn traits. And as you can see, now you only have 1 pledge mark left, so you can't afford the last one worth 3 pledge marks. And would need to get some more marks first before you can complete it, so have it all. The moment they are lost, they will appear here again, so you can repurchase them if you have the pledge points.
Yeah, just quickly replaying again, if because in the beginning I was asking about audio, but yeah, You can see the pledge boxes, and maybe you can also see that this is a slightly new location, which we'll show in a second. But as Dennis said, they will appear when you pledge, and then you can spend your acquired pledge marks. And let's talk about those locations. So what did we change about those?
Yeah, so in general, when the last event was running, we introduced a system where we kind of divided the maps into quadrants, 4 pieces, 4 segments, and those parts of each of those segments close to the center of the map is where we have like kind of spawned the event-specific supply points. However, in the last event, we only had the carts on the left ready. Right, there were no boats, there were no wagons. Now this has changed, so which means we can now draw from the full possible options of these supply points to spawn. Obviously, there will still only be 1 per quadrant, but you might have a couple more places where they can appear, which we couldn't use and utilize in the last event because of obviously only where the stagecoaches were used, like the wagons were used. We could actually use them. So you should see a lot more of those at different places and get like all the different types of supply points represented properly.
I think it's a great change. And meanwhile, I go chat going also already crazy by seeing some of the trades shown. So why don't we actually talk about them? So let's start with the Primal Pact.
So the Primal Pact has Instinct as its cheapest trade. So I'm not going to say the first trade because there no longer is a predetermined order. It's your choice depending on how many pledge marks you have and how you want to spend them. What Instinct does is that while in Darkside, you can sense when enemy hunters are nearby. That means within 75 meters. So it doesn't tell you an exact position. It is not like Darkside Boost, but it shows you that a hunter or maybe more hunters is somewhere around within that radius. So if you approach a compound, you might be chased, you might be chasing someone, you might have heard something. You can use Instinct to kind of verify at least that within 75 meters, and everybody knows 75 meters is not the biggest range in the game, you are at least safe. So you can kind of like more safely maybe start pushing down into that abandoned lair where the bounty is lying. No, there is no one around. I don't need to bring, for example, a stalker beetle to kind of scout ahead. Of course, you can still do that, but Instinct gives you a bit more security around it. So that's it's basically about situational awareness, about knowledge and information, and giving a Primal Pact of a sense of their prey, of what's around, and kind of like sniff it out. It's like this prey close. Let's go get him.
Yeah, very fitting, and also the artwork is amazing. Chat, yes. Shout out to our art team. Amazing job as always. And
yes.
So we talk about Instinct, and every pack does have a burn trade that you mentioned. So let's take a look at the very first burn trade.
Yes, so Instinct, as you rightfully said, like Instinct is not a burn trade. So Instinct will be on your hunter and it will stay on your hunter until that hunter perishes. Then the second one is Relentless. So you might be familiar with that one. So we've brought Relentless back from the Lunar Pact of the last event. And we turned it into a burn trade costing 2 pledge marks, which means once used, you will have to buy that trade again. There is no longer any deactivation rule set. The trade will burn away, and you will have to get the points to spend it again. So it gives you a bit of like a health chunk insurance because your hunter won't lose a health chunk when downed. So this is actually pretty powerful in combat because the moment you get picked up, or for example, if you self-revive, because Necromancer, as you know, is a thing that every pact can have now. We have the ability for players to kind of like have one comeback without the penalty of already being short on health chunks. So if you combine this with a recent resilience changes that give you like the full health restoration, it means you can technically stand up with 150 hit points right there. So very powerful, but also very situational. So something that gives you a bit of like, I think I used the word insurance before, which I think is kind of like a good description of this. It gives you, if you see that one time getting downed, you can recover from without any sort of downside. But obviously after that, you will need to get and spend, like the pledge marks and spend it on a supply point again to buy Relentless to get the shield back.
Yeah, awesome. And of course, people that played the previous event are maybe a bit familiar with this already. So let's move on to the second pact, the Smuggler Pact. And it's going to be very similar to every pact, that there's one trade for 1 pledge mark and 1 burn trade for 2 pledge marks.
Yeah, exactly. So the Smuggler Pact actually is a very different in playstyle. Also, it might have a very different audience that might be attracted to it. And this is something we want to try out a little bit and see how you guys feel, like how it resonates. It's a bit of an experiment a bit. So the first trait is Mariner. Now, Mariner is again like not a burn trait, so just have it on the Hunter, and it gives you health restoration while in water. Now, health restoration is marginally increased while exposed to heavy rain as well, which means that at least you benefit a little bit from, when we talk about Thundershower later, the gameplay changes around the heavy rain. But primarily, the health restoration is greatly increased while in water, so you can use puddles of water that are close by, like for example, a little lake next to healing waters or just bigger swamp areas, and while inside, you will heal up very quickly. It's almost like getting like a regeneration shot, just at a very, very high speed. But it's, again, situational, because you need to be in around water. If you fight in an area, let's say on the Zal, where there is no water nearby, it doesn't give you much.
Yeah, but a hint that, of course, maybe you guys seen something about Rojo and stuff, so this can be pretty useful.
Yeah. So we have a feeling. We have a feeling that water might have a stronger purpose and a stronger relevance to many of you during this event.
Exactly.
So, I think that there might be some hidden synergy for you to discover.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. So what is the burn trait for this? Because that's something really crazy. So what does that do?
So the burn trait is called Gun Runner. And now this one is like for all the greedy people out there, like the ones who just want to make money. That's your chance now. So basically what Gun Runner does, it removes contraband status from the main weapons on extraction. So if you have pillaged, if you have plundered, if you have taken loot, then and you make it out to the exit, you can switch that trait. It will be destroyed in the process, as it's a burn trait, for removing contraband, which means you actually profit from loot you take from other players or that you found in towers or anywhere else. So it's a very, very strong motivator for those people who just like rat it out, like sit in the shadows, just wait for the moment, scavenge afterwards. Which, to be fair, it can be very, very fun. I do enjoy that myself sometimes when playing solo, just like observing a little bit. Oh, the fight is over. Let's see what I had. Oh, some of them are not burned. So you can kind of go in, and then there's like another bonus to the profitable part, which is that you receive 2 extra ammo from ammo resupplies. So you know that with 113, we also introduce our weapon changes to ammunition, and that means you will get more ammunition now reliably while you have Gun Runner equipped. But obviously, the moment you extract with a weapon that is contraband, it will destroy itself, then you need to get it first, so it's not there forever. But it gives you a chance to run some of the weapons with a higher chance of resupplying them a bit faster. Again, you might not benefit from some of the other traits than the other pacts offer that might make it more survivable inside a fight, for example. But this one is actually pretty good for running specific loadouts and kits. So it's a nice secondary effect besides the contraband.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how people decide, because it will be very hard to decide within the packs this time around, I think. But that's all about the Smuggler Pact, and let's get to, again, the grounded one, the Balanced Pact. So what are the traits here?
All right, so the grounded pack has Shadow. You might be familiar with Shadow from our last event, so it's the same trait. That monsters can't see you, but they can still hear you. The boss targets and the wild targets are immune to this trait, so it's just for moving around the world. But you can kind of already guess, like, it has received a bit of a buff because it doesn't need to be activated anymore. The moment you have it, basically that hunter has that ability passively on them until they die or remove that trait for whatever reason. So you have a lot more reliable control to kind of like skip through larger crowds of AI, use them to like kind of like lose pursuers, since they have to maybe fight that AI. You can get to areas without making too much noise. But keep in mind, they can still hear you. So if you just run through, they might still go like aggro, and as a consequence, some people might pick up the sounds.
Yeah, it's such a weird experience when you run through the AI and they like kind of like obviously hear you walking, so they grunt at you and stuff, but they don't attack you. It's hard to get used to, but it's very fun to play with. And of course, the Grounded Pact also has a burn trait, which is Remedy.
Yes, so Remedy is the burn trait, and it's a new ability as well. So this one is actually a bit more complicated, so give me a second to explain it. So using Darksight, you interact with a trait charm to trigger a restoration effect similar to banishing for your team's hunters. So what it means is basically, if you have Remedy on your hunter, let's say your team has just fought a fight, won it against another team, but maybe a few of you got down once or twice, you're short of some health chunks, but you want to continue. If you have remedy, if any of you guys have remedy on them, and you find a trait charm, like for example, dropped by Meathead, or if you don't have them all equipped, there might be some other supply points. You can interact in Darkset with it. This is kind of similar to what Serpent is doing, right? You see like a circle filling up. And once that is completed, that remedy will remove itself, it's destroyed, and your entire team gets the same effect as if you just banished a boss, which means they get a full restoration of the health chunks that they had before and are filled up completely. So this is very, very, very strong. But again, it's also very situational because you need to kind of memorize a little bit. Like, we had like this trait, like for the Meathead drop there, and we left one over, so we can come back to it. So it becomes a choice now for you to kind of like manage the resources about like, do you want to grab it right now? Hey, it's Doctor. Let's just interact with it 2 times, and we both have Doctor. Oh no, leave one there because maybe we need the restoration later. So it's a tactic, or maybe just go find like a new Meathead, hopefully quickly kill it, and then be lucky that it drops the trait. So it adds a different level of tactic, and it's also a team effect. So everybody in the team will get it. So you can now have technically a medic in the team, like with restoration, with remedy, going for like a full restoration by giving the team like a boost.
Yeah, it's an amazing theme, especially for team players that like supporting their teammates. It's awesome. And yeah, the chat is also super excited. I've seen people saying, "Oh no, I can't decide between the pacts." So that also that way. So
that's what we wanted.
Exactly.
Hopefully it works.
Exactly. But talking about that, and they obviously seen the little pledge video where they've seen a third trait on the little box there. So let's talk about that cheat.
Yes, so Death Cheat is also back, but as you might have guessed already, Death Cheat is not linked to a particular pact. Death Cheat is the third option for every pact. So each of them will give you a chance to equip Death Cheat, but again, it is a burn trait, so it will work very differently in practice. Like in the last event, Death Cheat remained on the Hunter, and you just needed 1 pledge mark to reactivate it. That is different now. What you need to do now is that once it is actually kicked in, you will need 3 pledge mark to reacquire it from the supply point. So there's a lot more risk, a lot more effort involved in getting Death Cheat re-established, reactivated, be useful for you. So you might not be as successful in chaining it, and sometimes maybe you're drawn in the fight and you only have 2 pledge marks now earned. You need a third one. You don't have the Death Cheat on your Hunter anymore, and you might still lose them. But it is there as an option. We think it is a bit more balanced that way. It has more of a downside to it, and it should give players still a reason to go for it, because it gives you basically insurance for your hunters, so you more reliably can maybe level up hunters to a higher level, even if once in a while death strikes. However, if you lost it, you need to work a little bit harder in order to reestablish it.
Yeah, I think that is a great solution actually, and we make it much more fair. And we of course have one more trait that is with every event, but we wanted to mention it, the Shiny trait that you don't actually use pledge marks for, but upgrade points this time as for regular hunters.
Yeah. So Shiny does what Shiny did in the last events as well, which is basically boost your event points. So if you have a couple of spare points and you want to sacrifice one of your 15 trade slots, you can equip Shiny. And that means that at the end of a mission, when you come out, your total event points will be like giving a bonus of 10%. So keep in mind, it doesn't affect the ones as you collect them in the game, right? So it doesn't make you for example, get to the limit of 20 to get one of the pledge marks while you play the mission. But for the total amount you kind of leave the mission with, this is what the bonus is applied on top, the boost is applied on top. So if you want to progress a little bit faster, go for Shiny.
Yeah, great trait. I always took it because it helps a bit. So I think that's about the traits. If you guys have any questions, trait related, please write it in the chat. And of course, our lovely mods are collecting it for us, and we'll try to answer it in the Q&A, and of course you can ask them there too, so we can get back to them. But we have so much stuff to cover still, so I think Dennis's favorite part is this anyway. So let's talk about the new arsenal and all the new toys to play around with.
So a lot of them have been teased already, but the good thing is we can now go a little bit more into detail about some of them, what they mean, what the reason behind them is, and what we can do about them. So as always, all of the event weapon unlocks, they're part of the regular free progression, and they are only unlocked with the event progression during the event. After the event is over, they will become part of the regular weapon progression as usual. So if you don't manage to finish the event, which obviously we all hope we do, and I'm pretty certain about it, you can be sure that after the event is over, you can also still get your hands on them. No gameplay mechanics are being withheld from you.
Yes. And finally, we can talk about the first one, the drilling that everyone has been all excited all over the internet. So what is the drilling, Dennis?
So the drilling is a combination weapon, technically. So it's basically a mix between two weapon types. And in this case, what we've gone for is like different combinations, constellations of what the drilling can be. The one we've picked for the game is the one with 2 rifle barrels and a underslung long shotgun barrel. Now, what that means is that you have 2 medium shots that you can in quick succession. I mean, everybody knows how the rival plays, right? You can have the second barrel fire very quickly after the first. Obviously, you have to compensate for the kick and everything, which might be a bit more of a problem or challenge, at least, if you have to be precise. But you also have that underslung shotgun as your secondary. And as I mentioned, it's a long shotgun barrel. So this thing is as potent as a Romero is. However, there's obviously some balancing measures part of it that, for example, the reload takes a lot longer than it does on the Romero. So it's not just a Romero plus a rifle. It is attributes of it mixed together. So you have to give and take a little bit. But overall, the weapon gives you quite a lot of flexibility, as it is both a medium rifle with 2 shots loaded in and 1 shotgun shell underneath that you can quickly swap to.
And on the screen, you can see that the medium ammo capacity is 2 with 20 reserved. And for the shotgun part is 1 with 5 reserved. And just for those that are not familiar how to use these combination weapons in Hunt, you have to press a hotkey. It is X by default on PC, where it will just do an animation where it switches between the 2 ammo types. And we have a very cool image of it. And here you can see it very clearly and nicely. And we also have an amazing video. So let's see how it actually works in action.
Poor tower gets it.
Always, poor red tower. Yeah, so as you guys seen it, the 2 medium shots can be fired quite quickly. So the reload and then switching to the shotgun. And as Dennis said, it is basically a Romero shot. Some balancing changes. So I cannot wait for everyone to try this out in the event. And of course, let us know how you like it. But let's move on to the next thing, which is the Railroad Hammer, Dennis.
Yes, so the Railroad Hammer is a new melee weapon. It's a medium slot, like the combat axis, but this is the blunt melee equivalent. However, we didn't just want to put the sledgehammer in the game. Like back when we introduced the combat axe, we were still in early access. The game was just less matured, so it was the best option for us back then. But this time around with the Railroad Hammer, we wanted to at least give a bit of a different aspect to it. So it is similar to the sledgehammer, but it's not exactly the same. And that means primarily it has slightly less damage. However, it also consumes less stamina. The damage is still good enough. You can kind of insta-kill an emulator with it easily, but you can just do a few more strikes. So it kind of is in spirit also what the dusters are compared to the other melee weapons as being a very economic choice. Now, this one, compared to the Combat Axe, just gives you a chance to do a little bit more with it. Against bosses, it probably doesn't matter so much. Just do 1 more strike, and then you add up with the total amount of damage you normally would have dealt. But against regular AI, specifically emulators, armored, etc., it just becomes a little bit easier to use.
And you mentioned killing an emulator with it, so why don't we take a look at that quickly?
Yeah,
just so you guys
kill
can
an emulator.
Yeah, let's kill it.
You're safe for now, tower.
Oh, poor emulator.
Rather straightforward. It's a hammer. It's what you would expect.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun because it's not the only medium slot item that comes in this update. So let's talk about this one, Dennis.
Yeah, so we also have the Lamart Mark II Upper Mud. I'll talk about the name in a second. Let's first talk about what it actually is. So as you might have already heard or guessed from some of our reveals before, is like it's a medium slot long ammo pistol. So medium slot means that obviously it requires two hands to operate. It is quite a heavy piece. It's the heaviest handgun that we have in the game, but it's still a handgun. However, that means it cannot be used for fanning and you cannot dual wield it. So there are some severe limitations on it, which might give some of the alternative choices that start with the U still like an advantage, obviously. However, it does have the flexibility because it comes with the underbarrel shotgun that the Limit has. So this is exactly the same underbarrel shotgun. It's not like long or anything. It's just the same thing. But it gives you that shotgun ability alongside a long ammo pistol, which is pretty powerful. And capacity is 9/9, so you get like 50% more rounds loaded into the drum, and the same extra ammunition as the uppercut has for comparison. We see this thing to compete a lot more, obviously, with other medium slot choices, since it is a medium slot. So compared to, for example, an Obris, compared to other choices, like it might be very interesting. So we expect and hope that there's going to be a lot more like interesting builds assembled from two medium slot weapons, or obviously people just going quartermaster and just having that heavy piece.
So what about the name? Because chat is going crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the name. I mean, we talked a lot about this actually internally about like how we're gonna name it. And if you were to just go by our nomenclature, like how we name weapons and variants of weapons, it would have to be called the Limit Mark II Uppercut, because uppercut is what turns it into that long ammo. Just as, for example, a Talon or like a bayonet or a scope or a Swift. We're gonna repeat these names usually for weapons doing similar things. However, the uppercut has such an iconic role in the game. It's so well known for that particular name that we felt that we just can't name it like that. It would be a similar dilemma as, for example, if you would ever introduce, let's say, a second Aftermath, right? Like it's like, no, it's the Aftermath, it's the uppercut, and that has causes quite a bit of a problem. And one option, of course, is just like, yeah, just name it something different. For example, and I think the community also suggested things like that, like give it different names of like boxing, like attacks and techniques, anything related that's close by, and it's all fair enough. However, we went with the upper mud just for one hand, having that proximity still to the uppercut part of it that kind of like identifies it as being a long ammo, while not sounding exactly the same. There's obviously a little bit of a pun in there as well, a bit of cheek of tongue, but we thought this is actually fine, and we're hoping that like the people will also accept and get that. We will look, and we continue doing it, into like observing how this will play out over the event, etc., and then we'll draw our conclusions from that. But for the moment, we're quite happy with Upper Mud.
All right, and since we talked a lot about name, why don't we actually look at it in action so people can actually finally, for the first time, see it and the two-handing.
Yeah, so as you can already see, like this thing kicks like a mule. It has obviously the sights close to what you're familiar with from the Limit. So if you like those sights, it will feel quite home directly with the upper mat. However, it also has then the shotgun, and it kicks just the same as the normal one. So it is something, as you can see, like you have to hold it with both hands. It is a heavy piece, and therefore you will not be able to fan it or will it dual like in two hands akimbo.
Yeah, and I actually really like the way it's being held. I think it's really cool personally. So
yeah.
It's gonna be a hard choice now, choosing between them the uppercut for me, because uppercut has been my favorite gun ever since like pre-alpha, basically. So
I mean, it's easy. It's easy. Just use the uppercut, and once you get quartermaster in your hunter, consider swapping over or not. Right?
You're right.
I mean, to be fair, there's also just still the option to just use dual uppercuts, right, as a medium alternative. But I think people are not gravitating towards that
or dual uppercut and an upper mount.
But it can be fun.
Yeah.
Can be fun once in a while for meaning.
Yeah. So that was the upper mat, and we do have some more additions. So we do have the Caldwell 92 New Army Swift variant of gun. So
yeah, so this one is a rather straightforward one. You have seen Swifts in the game with the Scottfield. And this is just a Caldwell 92 New Army getting the same treatment as a variant. So faster reload, obviously, because it uses the speed loader. But it has a downside that if you are not completely empty in the drum, upon reloading, you will lose any sort of ammunition that you haven't fired off. So you have to kind of make the decision when is the right moment to reload, because you might just lose like 3, 4, or even 6 rounds of ammunition quite quickly, depending on when you reload.
And we have just a very quick video of the reloading animation for this, because since that's the new thing, here's first a picture. It's very pretty. But yeah, let's take a look at that reload. Yep, that was very quick.
Like it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, just one more time. Really cool. And I actually really enjoy the new army in general. So it will be very good for like new prestige, early prestiges. I think so. Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, but it still doesn't end here, because we do have the Winfield 980 Slate Repost variant.
Yeah, so again, something that you guys might be familiar with, you know what a repost is doing to a weapon. So we're talking about a shotgun with an attached heavy bayonet, and it basically is very effective in close quarters. The main thing, obviously, compared to a normal bayonet, is that it uses the blade for both attacks, like the regular and the heavy melee attack. So that means you might want to bring some dusters or something else in case emulators show up.
Yeah, I mean, now it's double good at close range combat, basically.
Yeah. So this is the first time we have a repost now on a close quarter weapon, right? We have it on the Martini Henry and other weapons, right? But like this time, it's like we're on a shotgun, so we're gonna see how the Slate will perform with that additional charge option. Like it's a proper trench shotgun now, and they weren't even trenches.
And since you mentioned that it does replace the light and heavy melee attacks, let's just look at it, how that exactly looks. Now you can slash people with a shotgun, so that's really cool.
It gives you just a chance to use it. For example, just a couple of grunts being close by, just use a couple of light attacks, and then just it's a lot easier, a bit more economic than, for example, what the Spectre bayonet can do, right? Like, which just uses the bayonet for the heavy melee attack and takes quite a bit of stamina for it.
Yeah, great. So we actually have a brand new custom ammo types coming with the event. So we actually have 2. So let's take a look at those, because these are also quite exciting. If you were like, if people watched the trailer for the event, it was hinted there, but I've seen some discussions about it. So let's take a look at the first one.
Yeah, so the first one is a Dragon Bolt. So you might have already guessed what that does if you've seen the recent trailer we've released. It's basically a Dragon Breath shell attached to a compact crossbow bolt, so similar to what a shot bolt does for the regular crossbow. Now, that Dragon Breath shell obviously isn't fully encased, so there's nothing that directs the blast too much. And that means as it impacts and then detonates, the fire kind of goes a little bit all around, and it's more like an explosion. So you can kind of like see this more of a ball of fire, like a firebomb, hellfire a little bit. It doesn't also burn the ground for a very long time, as it burns itself off quite fast. But it does give the hand crossbow quite a bit of utility, because you have like another offensive bolt to choose from, and can now, besides the regular ones and poison, for example, run any combinations with those. And as you might have already seen in the video, you can use that for utility, because you can set things on fire, including downed hunters, for example.
Yes, so why don't we take a look at that? Have a look. Big boom.
As you can see here, like it burns for a little bit, and then it kind of dies off like after like 10-ish seconds or so.
And you can see that you can do everything that you could do with fire, like taking out crows, as you said, burning enemy hunters too.
Yeah. Now you can be very cruel by just basically going into the mission with both a choke bolt and a dragon bolt, and you can put people at your mercy by setting them on fire and then like extinguish them again, setting them on fire again. Do what you like.
Yeah. Actually, like, is this the first weapon custom ammo that can actually set down hunters on fire? I've seen that.
As a custom ammo, yeah, because so the way setting things on fire works is that they need to be in a fire volume, like in an area that is burning. And for example, Dragon Breath or Incendiary Ammunition, they don't do that, right? They just give you fire on impact, so they don't saturate an area. This one, as it explodes on impact and leaves a bit of a fire area, actually has that ability, similar to like what a lantern does or a firebomb does.
Awesome, really cool. Can't wait to see it on enemy hunters, of course. And the other one is for the bomb lance.
Yes, so the bomb lance, I mean, not only does the bomb lance in 1.13 has the ability now to equip 2 custom ammo types, something really new, and we think is really, really exciting. It now also gets 1 additional ammo type that you can bring in, and that is the Wax Frag Charge. Now, this is basically an explosive lance of sort. It's a bit different from the basic one, so it doesn't for example insta kill like a player or a meathead if you hit him. It's more closer to what the frag arrow is doing. So it has a delayed fuse on it, so it doesn't detonate on impact. So people can try to avoid it, move around, but you can also use it kind of like a little bit like at least shoot more safely around corners. Obviously, it doesn't bounce big, but like it still gives you a bit of a safer option if you're close by, because it only goes up with a delayed fuse and then obviously causes bleeding damage as a result. And being coated with wax, similar to a wax dynamite stick, you can safely use it in and around water, and that might be a running theme of this event. That water is kind of like a bit more present and more relevant. So you might find this come in quite handy in some situations.
Yeah, while you were talking, Guy showed how it actually looks when you shoot that thing in the water, and it does explode. And as Dennis said, it may come very handy in the event. So
yeah, like it technically can one shot, but basically you would need to hit the guy directly, and he would not need to move. It's a very, very short radius. It's a little bit weaker than what the frag arrow does. So you will primarily find yourself being able to use this to saturate, to prepare a push by them having to stop bleeding, and just use it as a tactical option, similar to what Dragon Breath is doing with a fire roll set. This one is doing with fragmentation, so bleeding roll set.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really, really cool, and again, very useful. But other than like new weapons and variants and custom ammo, we actually have some new consumables as well on the way.
Yeah.
And yeah, this one is a favorite, and
my favorite.
And we will also need a new name from the community to name this little fella. But what is it? That is.
I mean, so the regular stalker beetle is called Steve by many, right? Maybe this guy turns into Chuck or Charles or someone else. Let's see what sticks in the community. But what we're talking about here is basically a variant of the stalker beetle, the choke beetle. And if you detonate it when you control it, it will explode in a cloud of suffocating gas, as you might know from the choke bomb and the choke bolt. So this thing gives you the chance to, for example, extinguish a burning teammate more safely, unless there's someone who's going to intercept that little fella. You can use that also, obviously, tactically, like you can make people choke and cough a little bit, so maybe it makes it easier for you to push or reveal their position. So you can use it differently to the stalker beetle. It is not as offensive in terms of detonating and causing bleeding, damage, etc., but it is a bit more of a utility consumable for you as well. So for example, you might choose to say, I'm going to leave my choke bombs at home and actually run one of these guys. I can use them for scouting, and maybe if there is the chance that I need to extinguish like a burning teammate, maybe I can use and sacrifice my choke beetle for that, for the same effect. But obviously you just have one, what the choke bombs give you two. So it's just a question of tool versus consumable, 1 versus 2. Tactical utility versus guaranteed usage. So it's really down to what you guys plan doing with it. I definitely want to try leaving my choke bombs home a little bit more and actually rely on this guy and see how that works out in practice.
Yeah, and I don't think we mentioned, but it is immune to choke clouds itself. So the beetle itself can fly through the choke clouds if some enemy hunters dropped it, for example. So I think that's also very cool. As Danny said, yeah.
Or it pretty awesome suggestions in chat. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, they just went crazy with that. So I think we will need like a poll or something. But I also seen a question about people asked already that can you actually find this in game? So
Yes. So it can be found in cocoons. I think it's like even a 50-50 chance between the two. So if you go to any of the familiar trees that you might have memorized by now, I still can't memorize all of them, I have to admit to my shame. Or if you're lucky, when they sometimes just spawn on some walls here and there, some material envelopes, then there's going to be a 50-50 chance which of the two beetle types you will collect from that.
Great. And why don't we just look at whatever Chuck or however you want to call it in action?
As you can see here, like nothing too spectacular, but you know how like a choke gas cloud looks like. And it does that. It doesn't stick around for a long time, but it's good enough, obviously, to trigger the effect. So it will extinguish a burning body, or it will get someone like the cuffing if they're within range. Another side that's already on that one is that it's immune to choke clouds. So with a regular stalker beetle, you might know that like moving into a cloud of choke gas actually deactivates the beetle, right? Like the connection is severed to it. So even the guy next to it might be able to now pick it up and use it against you. This was primarily a thing, or is primarily a thing, kind of like to give you a chance to more safely do a revive with a beetle around, because you kind of have a bit of a protective area, like you can deny some areas to the beetle. Now the choke beetle is not affected by this, but then again, a choke beetle also doesn't do any damage. So if someone wants to fly through a choke, they just have a bit more freedom. They're not being affected by it too much, so it can maybe scout into areas where it couldn't do. It's more situational. It's just a small little effect, but that kind of fella is a bit more immune to choke clouds himself, and therefore easier to use around that.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see it in the bio a bit more. Yeah, so we do have two other consumables that are, I think, really cool as well. Really straightforward what they do, but very useful.
Yes, so this is more on the utility side. They're kind of like almost a bit of like no-brainers, like, duh, why didn't we do that earlier? So as you already know, we have the medical stations in the world. At supply points, for example, you can find them in the compounds, and you can go and use those 2 times and kind of heal up health. Now the deploy medical kit is basically the same thing, but you can bring it along as a consumable. So if you want to be even more the medic for your team, besides running the trade we talked about earlier, you can now place this on the ground somewhere. Your team can use it, like 2 hunters can use it 2 times, just for a normal rule set of the rule of 2. And then that allows you to kind of like use that as a bit of like a supply station, supply point, and choose when to place it, and your teammates benefit from it as well. So nice alternative maybe to some people bringing vitality shots. Obviously they also have their own advantage still, because they're very fast and very immediate, but this one at least allows 2 usage for 1 item, which is quite handy.
And this is a brother, which is somewhat similar in form of a toolbox. So what does that do, Dennis? I mean, it is
so
also
it's the same idea behind it, basically. So we have the toolboxes in the game already. You could find, and now you can bring one, and it does do the regular random refill. Obviously, you can kind of steer it a little bit depending on what you've used up and what not. But let's say you have an empty consumable slot. It will give you one of the normal typical consumables that you're expecting from toolboxes, and it makes the whole thing a bit more interesting, because you can actually get some really good, or maybe some more situational things from it. It's a bit of a gamble, almost like what you will get out of it in terms of like reliable for gameplay. But it does give you the option to do that. So if you, for example, if you want to run traps, right, there might be a good chance you can use that to reliably get like 1 or 2 traps more out of this. And that is quite a nice advantage for people who are really focused around that type of gameplay, like being in control about tools, consumables, etc. But you need to sacrifice 1 of your consumable slots for it. So maybe 1 bomb less, maybe 1 vitality shot less. It's up to you.
Yeah, sounds really cool. And some people say it's pretty exciting, actually. So a bit of a gamble on there. But yeah, it also helps with the teammates. So I like the whole theme that you can actually like Of course, you could like heal teammates with the medkit, but now you can actually drop it on the floor for them, and also now that you can give tools to them, basically. So I think that's
Yep.
really cool.
It's a little bit like giving a bit love to the support guys out there in the teams, right? Those who just like maybe then to do all the fighting, but they're like to always have a spare med kit around. They always kind of like have something, maybe an ammo box at the moment on live. But with this now, there's more opportunities, more options for you to kind of like contribute to the team and kind of like keep you guys safe.
Yeah, really great. And that's at the end of the new arsenal and your new toys and new items. And okay, there's this big point about the new wild target. We will try to be very, very brief about this, chat, because we want you to experience it tomorrow. So we'll just talk very briefly about it. But yeah, Dennis, let's talk about Roger.
All right, let's talk about the alligator in the room, I guess.
Wow.
All right. So Roger is obviously a new thing for us, and what it means is that it's a wild target, and it's the first wild target we're releasing. It's a new type of target. That means it's a little bit different for how it works and how it operates compared to our regular boss targets, like the meathead, the assassin, butcher, spider. The main thing here is that we don't even want to tell you too much about, because we want you guys to experience it and learn it a little bit as you start the event. But there's a couple of things that we still want to give away a little bit. So Roger has its own territory. So unlike a lair, it has a specific place outside of compounds where it can be found. That's obviously randomly picked, like the boss lairs are randomly picked. And as such, it is not a roaming target that doesn't move around the map. It still stays within a particular area, and there's ways for you to kind of locate and find that area. Again, we will not talk about in details. We want you to experience this. We want you to kind of see how quickly you pick it up and when you find your first Rogers, and have fun with that one.
And there's some other changes like to the banish and bounties as well. So
yeah. So as being not like a proper full boss target, but wild target, we also have a slightly adjusted rule set when it comes to the banishing. Like, so you can banish Roger just like you can banish the boss targets. However, there's a much shorter banishing time, and obviously that's because it's outside of compounds, right? It's much more exposed, and we don't want you to sit there for too long, potentially with our teams rolling up. So speed will be of the essence of dealing with Roger. And that's why this is basically taking this into account. Also, Roger will just give you one bounty token, and it gives you therefore an opportunity, like if you want to do it maybe towards the end, if you want to quickly do it in the beginning, maybe then you have like a token you can use to approach the boss target of that mission. So it gives you that flexibility, and we were very, very interested to see how you guys will be engaging and interacting with Roger.
Yeah, and we do have a last point that during this event they will be only found in the wildcard contracts. So what does that mean exactly this time around, Dennis?
Yeah, so we started experimenting with wildcard contracts a while back in 1.12 with separating out night during specific times as a wildcard, so that night was no longer available in the regular rotation. But it was available in a separate wildcard. And we experimented a little bit with like the rewards you get, the frequency of that one, and that helps quite a bit to have a good foundation now that we want to use at this event for how wildcard contracts matter. Now, let's talk about wildcards, which I think is on the next slide.
Yeah, do we want to mention first like which exactly we have during the event?
Can do, yes. So during these events, we will have wildcard contracts running. We have them running basically as a second contract choice. And those include Night, Serpent Moon, you might remember, and the new Thundershower, which is our rain time of day, which we're going to talk about a little bit now. So as you go and play a wildcard contract, one of those three will be chosen randomly, and you will be able to play on that one. Roger can only be found on the wildcard contracts, which means if you don't want to worry about Roger, well, just play the regular contracts. But if you're really going to go into it, the wildcards are the place to find there.
Right, and as you said, Thundershower. Obviously, we did put out, I think, like 30 minutes video of it for people to listen to it. But let's maybe take a look at that first, like just okay. No, actually, let's talk about it. Let's introduce it first. What does it do?
Yes.
Yeah. And we have so many videos, so yeah.
I mean, so basically, Thundershower reduces visibility, right? Both from a visible standpoint, but also from an acoustic standpoint. So what it means is that while the Thundershower is on, you might have like a shorter view distance closer to, for example, fog, and therefore might need to move around a little bit more differently than during bright daytime. But I think we do have one video to show about that as well. But actually, it's a good point.
Yes.
Maybe just talk about the soundscape alongside, because it's kind of a package. And obviously, like with Thundershower being on, there's also a change in the sound. So you have rain coming down depending on where you are in the world. Like it might be like dripping down on the metal roof. It might be dripping down on the water surface or like around the trees. So there's a very interesting way that the audio is kind of depending a lot on where you are, like where the water is coming down next and around you. So let's maybe just show that as a starting point.
So I think first let's look at how it looks from outside and how it transitions. And I'll turn the volume to max on my end. So shush just a few seconds. Yeah, so that was how it transitions and how it looks from the outside. And yeah, so Dennis, you mentioned the footsteps. So we actually do have an example for that as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so we'll shush again and we'll show you how you can hear footsteps when someone is running around you in the heavy rain.
Yeah, it gives you quite a good overview. So you will still be able to hear footsteps, but obviously everything is a lot louder during heavy rain. And as you've seen in the first video, there is a dynamic component to Thundershower, which means there's both like a lighter rain version and then there is a heavy rain sequence, and they kind of alternate with a bit of randomness between them certain times. So something we want you guys to kind of like experience and learn what the pacing, the rhythm of all of that is. But obviously during heavy rain, if you crouch around, maybe you might be getting closer a little bit better than that is if there's no rain around. So you can use the heavy rain as an opportunity. I can no longer hear Ben's, but I hope you guys can hear me.
Oh, I was muted, so yeah, that's fine. I muted myself during the video. So yeah, sorry. What I was saying is that we do have an extra video to showcase how it sounds when you're outside compared to when you're inside compound. So let's also listen to that. I try to turn the volume a bit more up so you guys can hear it a bit better than the footstep one. And but again, I'll mute myself and not forget to unmute this time. So. Yeah, exactly. So I just wanted to show you that it will sound completely different when you're outside and when you're inside. And the soundscape really is altered onto like a really high instant in every scenario in the game. So it's gonna be very exciting to like re-explore what you learned already in Hunt and what you're used to, because obviously Hunt has been such a fundamental part of the game.
And also like what is the best place to kind of like be when the heavy rain kicks in? Like, do you want to be under a metal roof? Do you want to be next to a tree? Do you want to be outside? Do you want to be inside? It all has like advantages and disadvantages. So it's something for you guys to kind of experience and figure out how to go about like one of those heavy rain sequences kicking in.
Yeah, obviously, like we've already kind of revealed this, but and in the videos as well, there's rain patterns. So there is a light rain phase, and it transitions into heavy rain and then back. So it is gonna be patterns during Thundershower.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, there's a bit of a random element to it. So sometimes maybe heavy rain starts in the beginning of the map. Sometimes it's light rain, and however, we try to keep things so that you will understand after playing it a bit, like how to best use it, like how reliable it is, like the timings of it, etc. But yeah, it will be very, very much fun.
Yeah, so last important thing for this one is that the heavy rain changes some fire-related rules in the game. So maybe let's take a look at the first one, and then you can explain why we are taking a look at, or maybe you would just want to say what it exactly means first of all.
Yeah, I can give a quick of an intro. So basically, we won't completely deactivate all fires if there's heavy rain. However, heavy rain is enough that smaller fires, for example, when you try to ignite a barrel, when you try to ignite a alert trip mine, or like a burning hunter that just has a bit of a flame on him, if he's not completely lying in a fire area, like those will go out. Those will not work. So there is a bit of a rule set that based on where you are, where the flammable objects are, that heavy rain might suppress them actually igniting. So that's going to be a very interesting element to it, because as you can see in the videos in a second, like it might create a couple of new interesting situations.
Exactly. So how about we take a look at first at alert trip mines and how they react in heavy rain. Or how they don't react, I should say.
Yeah, so the trap is sprung, but you still have all your health and nothing is burning because that small fuse didn't ignite.
Exactly. I know Ari, shout out to our community manager who loves trapping everything. I'm sorry. But obviously that's not the only thing that's affected. So we have some examples with the flare pistol being also affected when outside in the rain. So let's take a look.
As you can see here.
Yeah, it's nothing happened.
Didn't hit, and as such, no ignition was going on. However, the oil spill next to it, it still can catch fire. As you see, like the shell, the flare shell, kind of rolling off to the side, it still ignited the oil spills, even though the barrels cannot continue burning. So as I was saying in the beginning, like it's mostly about the smaller fires, not the big ones. If you throw a firebomb, if you throw a lantern, they still burn. And let's have a look what it means for a hunter.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. So that's.
As you can see here, you will not catch fire during heavy rain. It's still charcoal, so it still burns you. It's still hot. You don't want to be there. However, it still gives you a chance to kind of like go through fires, just exactly a little bit of charcoaling of your health chunks, and not directly being set on fire. So you can use that differently now to kind of push, move around, and gives you a bit more flexibility. That also obviously means that if you are, as a hunter, being downed in the fire volume, like someone throws a lantern on you, you will still lose some of your health slowly by that. But the moment that source of fire is gone, so like the lantern is burned out, like you will not catch fire after that. You will be basically immediately out and no longer take any charcoaling.
Yeah, and obviously there's a lot of more like small secrets to Thundershower, but again, please go out there and explore it, because it is like a whole new experience, and try out different things, how they work, and how it affects the whole gameplay. I think it's gonna be really fun based on the small playtest I did earlier, so it's gonna be amazing. I can't wait for all you to see this part. And I think with that, we did arrive to the end of the new features, and now we can talk about all the legendaries. And if Ferent is around, I would like to summon you in. I think he is. So,
Yep.
hi.
Hey.
Hope you enjoyed the presentation so far. Let's talk together about all the legendary rewards and the store legendary content that is coming with the update in the store, in the free progression, and in the premium track. So just let's quickly go through everything. And let's start with the store. So we already shown these a bit, but friends, maybe you can just talk.
Okay. No, so basically we are just going to show some render shots of all the content here, both for the event as well as new BB content or DLC. So yeah, legendary Vex Dynamite Stick. It does look cool, a little bit greeny. Next one, I think we have the pre-pledged hunters. So you can see the Cardinal Rain again. This is one of the pre-pledged hunters for the Grounded Pact, one that you can buy in the event store or as part of the Battle Pass bundle. The Fang Shearer. Yeah, really nice couple.
I just wanted to mention that obviously the Cardinal Rain also comes with the bundle, or the Battle Pass bundle. After these we can go to the actual legendary unlocks that come by playing the event. So let's take a look at those, starting with the Risen Relic knife. I think it's badass.
So just a reminder, I think this one is a part of the free progression track. So you can earn it even if you haven't purchased the Battle Pass. Yeah.
Yep.
You like it? I think we have quite a few legendary knife skins, right?
Yeah.
Yes, kind of enough of those.
And then next the Pact related weapon charms actually. So even though there's no parameter for them or such as like that, but we like to connect them to the lore and narrative of the event. And this one I think is the Primal Pact weapon charm, Anula's Ghost. Next one. Oh, sorry. Okay, next one we have a weapon actually. So, looks cool.
Yeah, it's obviously it's a Nagant pistol, also really cool looking, and I believe it comes with the premium battle pass, most skins. Yes. Except the knife, of course, and one of the
with the exception of the knife, yeah.
Really cool one as well. Then we have Winfield C, so Winfield 1873C. I'll let you pronounce the name, but I really love this one as well.
Cretaceous Cruelty. I think we went through this, Spencer, right? Before the stream.
Yes, I was like, okay, you guys will say the name because it's too difficult. But anyway, it's a really cool looking one. Then we have Spark Silencer, which looks so cool. Corrosive Vessel.
Yeah, I can imagine this with one of the fancy smugglers, just smuggling in weapons into the bayou.
It seems like it would be worth a lot for sure.
With Smuggler Pact, if you extract it, you can sell it now. So
true. Talking about smugglers, we do have the Wayward Talisman.
Yes, so just a friendly reminder again. This is one of the two legendary hunters in the event progression, and this one is the premium one. I think he unlocks at level 25. So basically midway through the event progression, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool looking one. And of course, we do have the new consumables in the event. So now you also have some legendaries for them. So we do have the Saving 8 for the toolbox.
Yes, so unfortunately, with the exception of the Choke Beetle, both of the other consumables got a skin this update. And we'll have to see about the Stalker Beetle and the Choke Beetle maybe in the future.
Ooh, okay. And then we have the Gagged Reaper weapon.
Yeah, this is the premium weapon charm that you can unlock in the premium progression for the Grounded Pact, I think.
Really cool. And as we had for the toolbox, we also have one legendary for the medical pack called Saving Grace. It talks for itself. Very cool. Yeah, I can't wait to heal my teammates with this, to be honest. And then we have the Malformer, which is obviously for the new weapon, the Railroad Hammer.
Didn't we actually see the Moorhound with this on one of our marketing shots?
I believe for those that had like a really good eye when the Moorhound was fighting Rocha. I
Oh,
believe.
Roger, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, that was definitely the Sledgehammer, yeah. Or sorry, Railroad Hammer. I'm already confusing them. I'm still a Sledgehammer fan. No, just kidding.
Well, now you can bring this in actually, so you don't have to look for a Sledgehammer anymore. So that's great. And then we have Vortex, which is for the new Army Swift variant, which is also a new variant with the event, with the speed loader, and very sick. I think like it looks amazing. And after that, we have Corrosion, which is for the brand new drilling combination rifle Dennis talked about. And again, like I love how this golden like sea theme kind of came in with this event because that is my favorite. I love piratey things, so I'm just really happy.
You're gonna be a fanboy of the Smuggler Pact, right?
A Smuggler and the Primal as well. I mean, I will try all the packs probably, but like, yeah, it's just too many things to play around with, you know.
That's the thing that we're hoping is that people really can't really decide and try them out different situations and kind of switch between them quite a bit.
Yep. And since they said the Slate repost is very good at close quarters, it's called No Quarter. And again, looks amazing in my opinion with alligator skull next to it. Then we have another weapon charm.
I think this is the last pact specific weapon charm in the trio for the Smuggler Pact Celestial South. I really like this one. It's I really fancy this, like dirty metal. I think maybe bronze or tin.
Wow, very specific. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it looks fancy, especially when it hangs on your gun. Someone said I say every stream that is my favorite skin. It's true. But you know, like I love everything. They are too pretty. But we also have a very new legendary for the upper mat called Crimson Varnish. Again, also obviously the upper mat is a new weapon variant. Technically, I would almost call it a new weapon coming with this event.
Yeah, that's gonna be Dennis's favorite, I think.
Yeah,
maybe. just to make a point.
Yep. It's a beautiful skin. I really like this one.
And I know that this is a fan favorite ever since we showed her in the trailer. Gar, the new free legendary hunter.
Yeah. As whoever were not there at the beginning of the stream, so you can unlock Gar for free, basically at level 50, the very last level of the event progression.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with that we came to the end of the legendaries and weapon charm. Legendary items and weapon charms. Of course, there was one extra charm you could earn by reaching the level 51, quote unquote, for the event progression. So there's one extra, but we are at the Q&A segment. So I've seen that our lovely moderators already collected some questions. Maybe Dennis already looked at some. And yeah, let's try to answer them because there's a lot. And chat, you can ask questions right now, and we are trying to answer as many as we can related to the event.
I can start with a few questions I've seen earlier about the prices, since we didn't talk about pricing of some of the weapons, like $100, that is. So I can give a quick update on that. So we have the drilling that comes in at $510. It also has the option to equip Dum-Dum and FMJ ammunition, which you obviously also unlock as part of the event progression. We also have the Railroad Hammer that comes in with just a bargain of $1,500. So similar to the Combat Axe, rather easy and affordable. We have the Choke Beetle that comes in with $2,200. The Med Pack with $35. The Toolbox with $70. and the slate riposte with $359. The upper mat is $440. For the rest and all of the details, you can obviously then check out the patch notes. But I mean, the upper mat also comes with like poison long ammo and FMJ long ammo that you can also again unlock during the event.
Thank you, Dennis. We have some like a lot of Thundershower and Wild target related questions. So first of all, is it possible for 2 bosses and Rojo to appear on one map?
You will always have a boss target. There will always be a contract with a boss target. If you play the wild card during the event, you will have a boss target, randomly chosen as normal, and you will have Rojo hiding somewhere on the map. So you will basically always have 2 targets, one being a boss target, the one that defines the shrinking of the map, the clues, and everything you know. And you have the hidden wild target that we're going to tell you how exactly to find it. So we want you to figure that out yourself as you explore the event a little bit. But Rojo will not be alone.
Thank you. That I think is very clear. About Thundershower, so how does it affect other things other than fire? Can it affect poison effects or choke clouds, or how does it work currently?
So we've been focusing on fire as the primary thing. So it does not affect choke. It doesn't affect the poison. However, there are different things with fire, right? Like we have fire on AI, we have fire in the world on hunters, we have it with certain equipment and traps and other things. So this will be interesting for you to figure out all of the details of these mechanics and what will happen when the heavy rain starts kicking in.
Yeah, that's a very good explanation and a good one actually. So will the drilling and the upper mat have any special ammo that they can unlock on their release?
Yes, I mentioned before briefly, like the drilling, at least for the regular ammunition, I don't have the information for the shotgun top of my head right now, but for the regular ammo, you get Dum Dum and FMJ, and the upper mat has poison and FMJ for its long ammo. And the shotgun component of the upper mat has the same ammunition as the regular mat because it is the same shotgun.
That makes sense. Oh, another good one. So for the consumables, will the deployable toolboxes affected by the pack mule trait?
Yes, they are affected by everything systemically that normally affects these type of consumables.
Makes sense.
I think I saw a question regarding the battle pass and the prices. So can you get, if you buy the battle pass from the blood bond reward, can you get enough blood bonds to purchase the next battle pass? And long story short, no. I think we give back basically 600 or 700 blood bonds if you purchase the battle pass. And given the current price of the battle pass, that's 300 or 400 blood bonds short. But I would say you are pretty close to it. And if you are an engaged player and you play your weekly challenges regularly, then you would be able to buy the battle pass next time. Yeah.
Thank you for explaining that, Ferenc. Go on.
I have a quick addition. So a little bird has just quickly given me the information with the shotgun, which I didn't have at hand. So the drilling shotgun component of the combination gun has slug, penny, and flechette as options available to it. That again, you need to unlock through playing the event.
Thank you. So we introduced some traits like the Mariner when water effects heal the hunter. So does it stack with the regen shot or replaces it, or how does that work in combination? Dennis, maybe. Yeah.
So, sorry, was that Vigor and?
I
missed the question a little bit because I was looking at chat.
Oh, sorry. So there was a trait in the event that heals you while you are in water or in heavy rain slightly.
Mariner, yes.
Mariner, yes. So how does it work with the regen shot? Is it similar to that? Does it stack together, or what can players expect?
I mean, it basically has the same effect. It's just that Mariner regenerates a lot faster, but it has the condition that you have to be in water. So if you have a regeneration shot in, you still benefit obviously from being in water with Mariner.
Awesome. Yeah, so some people ask when is the new DLC coming. So it will be coming in July, the Myth of the Moors. And again, the Moorhound Hunter within that DLC will also help you gain bonus event points if you play with him after he comes out, obviously, just like the pre-pledged hunters. So many questions. Maybe just to again, because I see a lot of people asking about reshade, and we already talked about this before. So we are of course aware that there are evolving concerns with reshade abuses, and we are currently reviewing our options and addressing the concerns soon. But currently we cannot give any further information.
Can enemy hunters use your deployed tool or medical box? Or
Yes,
pack?
yes, it's the same as with the ammo boxes that the player deploys, right? At this point, they're out in the world, and if you save them for yourself and someone found your little secret stash, now maybe it's gone.
There is some people asking for specific stats for the new weapons. I don't know if you're like,
No.
yeah.
I've seen this for like some people asking about muzzle velocity, etc. But like we will have to wait for the patch notes for getting all of the details. That would be a bit of overkill going through every little detail now. But they will be available for you to look at and then answer it by yourself very soon.
Actually, that's a very good point. I wanted to mention that. Please check out the patch notes this time around, especially because it's not just the whole event, but a whole update 1.13 with it. So again, the shooting range, the ammo changes are all in that big package, and all the new weapons, everything we talked about today, all the numbers, all stuff like that is in there. So please check that out, because it's a lot of info that we are maybe not able to cover on this stream.
Yeah, and like there might be a few additional bug fixes and a bit additional tuning that you might not have seen in the test server. That's also part of it. So that's why we strongly encourage you to just like have a good read through them and see what might have been adjusted on the last steps for us.
All right. I think we answered a lot of questions. Do you, Dennis, or friends, have any big ones that you would like to still talk on?
I saw a question. So which new weapon are you most excited about and are going to use when this comes out? Personally.
I think the upper mod for me, just because again I love the uppercut, and it's like a big brother version to that, so I'll definitely play a lot with it. Dennis?
Yeah, for me it's no questions asked. It's the choke pedal.
Oh, nice. And you, friends?
I'm more into the Caldwell New Army. I like the fire rate, and now I'm going to enjoy the reload rate as well. So
just make sure you count your bullets.
So we tried to answer a lot of questions, but we did collect some other ones as well. So we will look through the stream and try to answer as many of you as we can on social media as well. So please try to interact with our post, write questions there as well, and we'll try to answer as many of you as we can. But I think with that we can come to the end of this stream. We are very excited. I hope all of you as well, and see you all in the event and the update. And Dennis, Ferenc, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun talking about this big event.
Thanks, fans. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you, and have a great night, everyone, and see you in the bayou.
Bye.
Bye.
How could you say her name? How could you kiss her lips? How could you say those words? Waves sinking all my ships. It ain't over till it's over, babe. It ain't over till it's done. It ain't over till it's over, babe. And it ain't over till I opposing tide.